let's now spend some time really exploring emotional intimacy. I think we give service to like all the different levels of it or types of intimacy. And I don't think they're all built the same. I think there's some that in a long lasting relationship, if you have those, your rate of success in staying together are much higher. For me, physical we'll get to, but emotional connection is really important in a long lasting love. So let's dig into that a little bit.
Yeah.
What does emotional connection and intimacy look like as your relationship progresses, and how do you create powerful emotional connections? That's what we're going to dive into next.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah.
We talked about in our coming out of college, moving into our early marriage days, what did it look like for us to become more emotionally connected? And what does a healthy emotional connection look like in a relationship?
Yeah, it's something that strengthens over time. It's not there right at the beginning. It's as you get to know each other. You can tell when you have a stronger emotional connection, you start to feel comfortable. I started eating around you, which is good, right?
Yeah.
You get more comfortable. You start to feel safe to talk about things. You feel secure. You don't worry that, oh, if I tell my person this thing, they're going to be, oh my gosh, you're just out there. I'm gone.
Right. There's a greater level of acceptance and lack of judging and a deeper understanding of the security around communication. Because if you are always afraid that you're going to say that thing that wrecks the relationship, or say that thing that offends, or say that thing that hurts, then it's hard to really grow past that, right? So you become, more safe, that allows you to then open up.
Right. Absolutely. And there's mutual respect. Both people allowing the other to talk about the things and to listen to them and not laugh or not judge. Support if they're struggling, if they're going through something and it looks like they need, not that they're in over their head, but they could benefit from some support. It's giving that. And knowing when that happens. And then it's basically just caring. You care about somebody more when you have a deeper emotional connection. You're like, you want them to be happy. You want them to be successful, and you want them to feel that emotional connection as much as you do.
I love it when you just go and go and go. Again, there's several things in there I want to talk about, but I'm like, don't interrupt her, don't interrupt her, don't interrupt her. No, I think there's a lot there. I think let's talk real world about some of the ways that manifest for us. We have areas where we disagree, like views we disagree, be it current events or whatever. But over time, we talk about all those sort of things, and we realize we're different people. We have different views on those things. We don't have to be lockstep and agreed on all those things. And maybe early on in your relationship, you're afraid to express that view that's going to be not, like agreed upon. And now we just have healthy discussion on stuff. And I look at you sometimes and go, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense at all. Not to judge you, but just that it doesn't align with what I think is right on those things. That's part of emotional development, is the freedom to just be yourself and express.
Right.
One of the things that I think is really important or beneficial of that is you and I can be a sounding board for our thoughts on things that I might not say out to somebody else. I might not say that to somebody who's going to be that judging voice or is going to immediately disagree and be very confrontational about that. For example, you have clients that bring all sorts of stories to you, or things they're doing, or decisions they're making, or points of view that you share them to me. And I'm like, what the hell? That makes no sense at all. And we'll openly criticize and talk, but it's safe and it helps us be better at kind of processing and understanding. Is that
It is. And just another disclaimer, I'm not talking about,
yeah.
I don't talk about my individual clients.
Yeah, you don't tell me this person.
To
you
Michael,
said,
I just say, hey, there's a view that I've heard multiple times over the last year in my practice about this concept when it comes to relationships.
Yeah. Or you're coming with, have you heard of blah?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I heard about this. And she's like, I got a person who's going through X, Y, and Z and dealing with this. And so it's not personal information, but it's topics.
No. And
it's a natural part of a counselor's process to need to process that yourself. So you get challenged with things like, hey, have you heard of this? What are your thoughts on this?
Right.
And if it's something I have views on, then we'll just dialogue about what does this mean and what are your views on this? And I think, without putting words into your mouth, but I think it helps you understand better sometimes what the client is coming to you with and helps you be
Right.
a better counselor because, okay, I understand this issue a bit better. I have
Yeah.
another perspective on it or my own perspective has been rounded out
Right.
on this.
Yeah. People think counseling is just about what happens in the session. Oh, I do a lot of research afterwards. Somebody mentions something that I haven't heard of or I want to know more about to see if it is something healthy so that we can discuss it further. I go look it up or I talk to people. And once again, no identifying, but saying, hey, have you heard about this?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I love to hear what other people have heard and what their thoughts are so I can, I don't know, just be a better therapist.
Yeah. So a willingness or an ability to share openly, does it mean you actually share openly? How much do you share? Do you share everything? We were talking about this earlier because like I don't share everything. There are some thoughts that are just my thoughts, my personal. So just because we can openly share, does it mean we openly share on everything?
It's not that you
Thoughts?
have to. If by you saying you don't share everything with me, I wasn't like wounded. I didn't think, well, why not? I share absolutely everything because you don't have to. You are allowed to have personal thoughts and opinions, and you don't have to share them. If you want to, by all means, there's nothing wrong with that.
I
And
asked you a pointed question. Do you share everything?
do I share everything?
And why don't you? Tell me now.
Oh, you're sounding wounded.
I am wounded. Deepest, darkest.
No.
Hey, it's okay for me not to share everything. It's not okay for you to share
Wow.
everything.
Wow. Nice double standard there. I would say, I bet you I can quantify it and say I share probably 90 to 95% of my thoughts, my opinions, my feelings with you. Things that happen to me on the daily, I share with you. But there's a small percentage, either I think it's silly or I'm a little bit embarrassed, Oh yeah, I fell on that rung because I wasn't paying attention. I tripped on a curb. I don't want to share that. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, but also I would say you hold back on things where you think we're going to have a disagreement that you're not. One of the things I think we've talked about before in maybe one of the earlier episodes is that it takes you a bit of time to process and come to your opinion on something. And if you haven't done that work, you're hesitant to talk about it because you think you're going to be judged for not being aware of or
Right.
fully developed on there. So would you say that you hold back some stuff where you're not having those deep conversations or you're not having those emotional conversations because you haven't processed it yourself?
Yeah, I haven't processed it myself, or dare I say, sometimes I just agree to disagree without discussing it with you. I've decided, you know what? That's mine. I know that's not his thought on it. I don't have to share that. Or we've shared it before. I don't need to go there again.
Yeah.
My opinion hasn't changed. Why? So yeah, sometimes I agree to disagree and you don't even know it.
Oh, I know it. And I think the whole reason I asked that question is being emotionally connected and being vulnerable and open doesn't mean that you have to agree and be lockstep on everything. How boring would it be if we were the exact same thought on everything? Like,
I can't remember who the researcher was or theorist or whatever, but somebody down the road in psychology said, if you're in a relation, you might as well be in a relationship just with
obsolete.
yourself, right? Exactly. One of you is obsolete if you're not different people.
Yeah.
And you're right. That would be so boring if you agreed on absolutely everything. And that doesn't mean have screaming fights about it, but talk
no,
about it.
Yeah.